Concise answer. Scientific axioms must be natural laws, and social axioms do not have to be natural laws but are often socially recognized principles. However, if this society wants to have a future, social axioms must be natural laws. General explanation. The axiom defined by science is the truth that is self-evident in science, because it is the known laws of nature that have been scientifically proven. This known law of nature can be used as a self-evident axiom because you don't have to prove it again and again when using it. The social axioms mentioned by the people are the premises and principles that people agree on, and they are not necessarily real phenomena or natural laws. This definition of axiom is not a scientific definition of axiom, but a social definition, which are the so-called social axiom. This definition can be manipulated by humans. Human manipulation is often based on interests. And this interest is always relative interest, but in the artificial social system, relative interest and absolute interest are contradictory. In this way, truth cannot be discussed but the final decision is always made by power struggle or power threat. Humanity has no future in this condition. Scientific axioms are not defined that way. The axiom you are talking about is a mental value or an explanation of something that public opinion endorses. For example, the Earth is flat, the Earth is the center of the universe, heavy objects fall faster than light objects, no matter what, entropy always increases, economic and technological activities are activities that create value, labor creates value, capital creates value, it is labor and capital that feed people. If there is no human labor in nature, there is no value, and people will have to starve to death. Economic and technological activities can transform nature into a better and more effective one. Manure and urine are pollutants, but man-made fluorine organic compounds are anti-stick, anti-dirt, waterproof, clean, high-grade, civilized, so they are clean. Technology can be used to make genetic modification that is better than the natural ones. The development of technology can save mankind, etc. These were or are still the axioms of our society. We are talking about science here, and the axioms of the definition of science should be used but not. Natural social systems can aim at relative benefits, but artificial social systems cannot. It can only be for the purpose of absolute interest. Otherwise, humanity will soon perish. In short, as long as the axioms, that is not the laws of nature, they will be wrong. I could hardly find the right social axioms. Society is matter, and all matters follow the laws of thermodynamics, so social science must follow the laws of nature, otherwise it is not science. It is just a tool for competing for relative interests. More explanations. What you are saying is the truth. If a person does not recognize or refute the definitions of values and some important things recognized by the public, or insists on asking others to recognize them according to his own definitions or criteria, he will not be able to communicate with others. Individuals can't stand society, and you can be false and deceitful for the sake of current survival, but you have to understand what is right and what is wrong. And on key issues, in scientific discussions, if you can adhere to principles, you must adhere to them, otherwise in the end, you personally, your family, and your nation will still not be able to live. In daily life, I never argue with people about big issues, it's unnecessary and unpracticable. I just post those remarks on public forums, such as Quora or Shihu, which are places that normally influence public opinion without disrupting people's daily lives. For example, the wrong public perception of key issues such as value, life, meaning of life, the future of mankind, the future of the universe, the relationship between order and system, the nature of evolution, the nature of economic and technological activities, and so on is deadly, and even you are just one person against all, you must stand up and bravely adhere to the truth until the last moment. Because if not, all humans will become extinct. So, this way, even your current interests are preserved, but your ultimate interests will inevitably be lost. So, there is no point in being too smart sometimes. Due to the lack of understanding of the principles of thermodynamics and the most basic underlying logic, some of the world's top scientists have even advised their governments to quickly use up the existing stock of Earth's resources, develop as fast as possible, and enjoy as much as possible, because sooner or later the world will be destroyed by heat death. There have also been some smart people in China who have advised the government to implement the development strategy of pollution first and then treatment later. This is mainly due to the lack of understanding of the principles of thermodynamics. If you don't stand up and speak out, who will? If you don't go to hell, who goes to hell? The answer is ready-made, all. This kind of intelligence is called natural rationality, and the rational level of rational man in economics is natural rationality. It is necessary and useful only in natural social systems, but it is useless and harmful in an artificial social system. In the man-made social system, the useful and necessary level of rationality is rational rationality, which is characterized by the fact that it only follows the laws of nature and sets its goal on absolute interests. Natural rationality is a behavioral strategy that follows the natural order-directed natural process-derived process-stable but system-unstable behavioral strategy. I call it stable strategy, which is the process-level stable but system-level unstable strategy, which is slightly different from the strategy stability domain in game theory, which includes all the strategy choices in game theory. All the prerequisites in game theory and the purpose of the game are for relative interest, and it only applies to natural social systems and not to the social development stages of artificial social systems. When humans follow this stable strategy, humans will be selected out of existence by system-level selection mechanisms that operate in man-made social systems. Now our society is already a man-made social system, so we must have and use rational reason to fight for our absolute interests.